My brother's got a big birthday coming up soon, so I thought I would try to make him a keepsake box, something to commemorate number 50. So in an effort to be like some of the great YouTube woodworkers, I went out and spent a bunch of money on a CAD program called SolidWorks and designed my materials, designed my box, material list, specifications, everything using CAD. Next, lay the stuff out. Well, first, I guess I had to go to the hardwood supply store, and I bought this really exotic, expensive hardwood called Pecan, mint condition, no knots, clear grain. It's going to be perfect for this sort of thing. I hear it's really good to make pies out of. We're going to see how it does for boxes. Everything laid out. Well, most of it's laid out. We'll see what happens next. Well, so much for fancy CNC machines. Turns out they only work for man-made materials like fiberboard and plywood. So I sent that back, going back to doing things the old ways, like the old timers, using saws and 12-inch DeWalt thickness planers. If it worked for the ancient Egyptians, it'll work for me. You know, something occurred to me while I was thicknessing my stiff piece of pink hardwood here on this DeWalt planer. I'm not much of a fan of DeWalt tools normally, but this thing has been a gem. I got this in the mid-90s and it's 2025, and I think I've replaced the cog belt once, the brushes and the motor once, and other than that, just lubricated it and cleaned it every now and then. And this is no joke, a hard wood. I mean, when it comes out the other side, it can be so hot, or so hot that it's hard to hold on to. Anyway, just wanted to give credit where credit's due. After about a day and a half, I finally have all the pieces roughed out. That last big board was so cupped and warped, I had to cut it all the way through the middle and then glue the halves together to make some of the pieces. I've got another one over here. And now that they're roughly cut to size, they're a little bit oversized, maybe an inch in each direction, it's time to take a little bit more care and flatten everything out. And then once I'm satisfied about that, I'll true up the corners again and we'll start cutting them to fit. It's almost 5 o'clock, so about 6 hours today of trimming these boards, squaring everything up, getting where I could lay things out. Laid out the dovetails on the side pieces, cut the grooves for the bottom, the two shelves. This is where the top is going to slot in. Same on the back and front piece right here. The grooves don't go all the way to the edge because I don't want that to be seen. One thing I haven't touched really is the top. I'm going to wait till the end where I put it all together. That way I don't accidentally cut it too small or something crazy like that. So next step, dovetails. Oh, here you go. Cutting this little grooves right here. I snapped off. This is a 1/2 inch shank. It's a 1/4 inch route bit, but it was short. So the only thing I had left to finish those grooves up, fortunately, I had recently bought a replacement 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch down here. The only problem is that this thing is a lot taller. So with a 1/4 inch shank, 1/4 inch the whole way through, and it's, I don't know, 2.5 inches tall. The other one had about 1 inch, maybe 1 1/4 inches of 1/4 inch sticking up, and it still snapped it. You better believe I wanted a snail's pace routing out these last grooves. That's how hard this stuff is. Fantastic looking wood. Hopefully that'll make cutting these dovetails a pleasure, since it's not going to squeeze and, I don't know, compress like pine does. That's a little bit of a pain in the ass. I'd much prefer cutting dovetails in something like oak, or I think I've done some walnut stuff. This will be the first time in this pecan. See how it goes. Probably tomorrow. I think I'm about done for the day. I know I said I was going to step up my game like the pro YouTube woodworkers do, and that would require me using some table saw jigs and bandsaw jigs, things like that, to cut these dovetails. Thinking about that as I'm slowly working that little back saw through this pecan, and it occurs to me that I'm not so sure that being able to set up jigs on big power tools to get perfectly sliced cuts is the hallmark of expert woodworking. I call it a vision in clamps. We'll see what this thing looks like tomorrow. Drawers. Drawers have been made. One's a little bit shorter than the other, but that's nothing to be embarrassed about. I ended up cutting some real tiny blocks and putting them right on the dovetail things, taping them on, and squeezing that together with the clamps to try to pull those dovetails in tight. I mean, I know from test fits that everything is not a perfect alignment. You know, there's a few gaps here and there. We'll see what it looks like once it's all squeezed together and glued. It's not going to be too bad. There might be one area, I think, where I had a chip out on one of the spalted boards that I might have to put a piece of wood in. Other than that, you know, we'll see tomorrow what it looks like. Drawers turned out okay. Like I thought, there's a couple of tail to pin fitment issues from some blowouts, but it turns out they're right on the face of that bottom drawer. A smaller drawer, the top one looks pretty good. But as far as the sides go, let's see here. As far as the sides go and all that, pretty happy. Backs, sides, everything else. There's just those couple of places on the face of that bottom drawer that I wish didn't happen. If it wasn't for that, I'd say, man, that was a really, really good dovetail. It's still not bad. It's just I was hoping to get away with a 0 filler on this one. Next challenge on making a small box, I got these door lock openers for the lid, which is right here. So it'll fasten like, you know, one side will fasten here, the other side will fasten inside the chest, and that's what's going to lock the door in its upright position. The problem is that you can see this is only maybe an inch wide of wood. So to drill those holes and drive these screws in, I was thinking, well, how do you do that? I got my drill here, but I mean, it's too, I don't know if you can tell, but with the chuck right there, you're drilling it at a 15-degree angle is the closest you can get it in there. So fortunately, I have a bunch of hand tool stuff, so I ended up taking this egg beater drill, stripping it down, dumping everything out so that it would fit in there. And I'm able to, I've already drilled the holes, and I'm able to fit that in there with the thing, and it's just perfect. Flat right up against the back. Nearly there. I decided on this traditional tung oil as the finish for this, which, so in a day or two I may start applying that stuff. But, and I'm not 100% sure about this top handle. That's what I've got. So we've got some inside, some, you know, and then the drawers. I put some red felt inserts inside these drawers there. So, all right, all finished up. 3 weeks before the deadline, ready to go. Not too bad. Here's a quick look around the back. Side, I've got inserts, some red felt inserts inside the drawers in there. Some faux leather in here. I ended up initially using that tung oil finish because of the traditional aspect of it, and I did like I was supposed to do, and I applied the tung oil finish a couple of coats, and then I did some research on it and learned that it's one of those finishes that hardens up well, but you have to keep applying it throughout the life of the furniture, so it's a constant maintenance thing. Well, nobody wants to do that. So then I did some research, and I found this Waterlox tung oil finish resin, modified resin tung oil finish, I should say, and put that over the top of it, and I like that a whole lot better. Polished it up with some Howard's Feed and Wax, some beeswax, wood conditioner and polish, just like Tom Johnson would do, and I think it looks pretty good.